There's this saying that the day 50 plus 1 rules dies is the day the Bundesliga dies. There's a rule in German football that people love to point to as proof that the game still belongs to the fans. It's called the 50 plus 1 rule, and on the surface it sounds perfect. Clubs can take investment, but control must stay with the members. The fans always have the majority. Simple. But here's the uncomfortable question. If that's really true, why does it still feel like powerful investors are finding ways in? Because the reality is this. Billionaires don't need to break the rules to control football. They need to understand them better than everyone else. To see how this works, you have to zoom out. Look at the rest of Europe. In England, clubs are owned by billionaires, investment groups, and even entire states. In France, one club's dominance is basically tied to ownership from Qatar. Across the continent, money doesn't just influence football, it decides it. Germany tried to resist that. The 50 plus 1 rule was meant to protect clubs from exactly this kind of takeover. Fans keep the majority. Investors can come in, but they don't get the final say. That's the idea. But football isn't played on paper, and neither is power. Because over time, cracks started to appear. The first one is built into the rule itself: exceptions. If a company has supported a club for a long time, they can take control. That's how clubs like Leverkusen and Wolfsburg operate today. On paper, it's justified. In reality, it raises a simple question. If a corporation owns your club, how different is that from the systems Germany was trying to avoid? Then came Hoffenheim. A single investor, Dietmar Hopp, funded the club for decades, took them from the lower leagues all the way to the Bundesliga. Eventually, he was given majority control. And that's when people started to realize something. The rule didn't stop billionaire ownership. It just delayed it until it could be justified. But the smartest workaround doesn't even involve owning the club outright. Look at RB Leipzig. Technically, they follow the 50 plus 1 rule, but their membership system is extremely restricted. Very few people actually get voting rights. So yes, the fans own the club. But in practice, control sits with a very small, very controlled group. And that changes everything. Because now you've found the loophole. You don't need 100% ownership. You just need to control who gets to decide. And once you control that, you control the club. This is what modern influence in football looks like. It's quieter, less obvious, but just as powerful. And it's not just happening at the club level. In recent years, there have been attempts to bring private investment into the Bundesliga itself. Not by selling clubs, but by selling parts of the league's media rights business. Billions on the table. Fans protested hard. Matches were stopped. The deal collapsed. But it didn't disappear, because the pressure is still there. And that pressure comes from one place: the money gap. The Premier League generates more revenue than any league in the world, by a distance. That money flows into wages, transfers, and squad depth. And it creates a level of competition that German clubs simply can't match consistently. You see it every season. Teams like Dortmund or Frankfurt can rise, compete, even reach big finals. But keeping that level? That's the problem. Because eventually, the best players leave. The squad gets picked apart, and the cycle resets. So now the argument is changing. People aren't saying, scrap the rule completely. They're saying, loosen it, adapt it. Because if you don't, you fall behind. And this is where things get dangerous. Because once you start bending a rule designed to limit control, you slowly make control easier. And once it becomes easier, it becomes normal. So let's be honest about what's happening. The 50 plus 1 rule hasn't completely protected German football from billionaire influence.